Let's begin Gandalf's turn turn. We'll untap everyone. Gandalf's the only one to untap. We're sitting pretty in Lorien, and at this point we can bring in someone. So here we go. Yes, as I said, we have a choice. I'm going to bring Balin into play. Yeah. Alright, Balin has a mind 5, as I said, mind 5, influence 2, +1 against dwarves, and I believe what I'll do is I'm going to have Sam give his lesser ring, which gives 2 direct influence, to Gloin, and then Gloin and Balin will then be able to... Gloin will be able to control Balin, or vice versa, but I think I'm going to do Gloin over Balin. It really doesn't matter. When you pass items among players, every time you pass an item, the player passing the item needs to make a corruption check. However, Sam has a +3 corruption modifier, and he only currently has 2 corruption points, so there's no way he could lose that, so I'm not going to bother with that. It's just silly. And he... and that still leaves us, I'd forgotten, I remember the Musters Disperses card, but I'd forgotten about the Call of Home card. That's yet another card that encourages you to leave some general influence available, which we are. We currently have 7 unused general influence, which is great. So we are going to split up, but how to split up? So here's my quandary. We are currently in Lorien, which is in the Woden Foothills. Here we are, Lorien, the Stone Circle is more than 4 regions away. It's over here in the Old Puckle Gap, so yeah, it's more than 4 regions away. So that would mean either, yeah, we could travel to Austin Edel, which is a place you can get a ring. We could also travel to Isengard, which is a place you can get a ring. That would be funny. We would be there along with Saruman, likely. Wizards can't influence people away. I don't normally do that kind of stuff. I feel like it's a little bit too direct conflict, which is not what this game is really about, but it is in the rules, so if we ended up doing that, I think I would have to look into what that means. But it involves having the person influencing away direct influence versus the opponent's general influence. Again, another case where having free general influence helps. Yeah. If we have one group going off to get rings, they could go one of 2 ways. Either up here into the northeast, where there are a number of sites to get rings, and there aren't too many orc automatic attacks. It's mostly dragons up there, so that's one option. Those are pretty nasty automatic attacks, but Glorfindel's tough. He can probably handle it. I think I'm going to go to... I'm going to have Gandalf and Sam go to Edelland, and they are going to maybe meet up with Gildor in Edelland, and then go pick up this ally from there. And meanwhile, I'll have the elves and the dwarves, good friends, all go and try and get a ring in the different direction, in the opposite direction. So let me sort that out 1 second. So yes, I'm going to have Gandalf and Sam go to Edelland, and I'm going to have Glorfindel and Gloin and friends go to the Lonely Mountain. The Lonely Mountain is one of a number of northeast mountain sites where you can get most anything. It's a dragon horde if you're using the dragon rules, which we are, but I don't have a ton of those cards in these decks. Not in these 2 specific decks anyway. Yeah, I would just need to beat that automatic attack with a prowess of 14 with Glorfindel, provided that he's untapped when we arrive there. Let's hope so. Generally speaking, I'm thinking that I will take, the elves and dwarves up here. So where are we? There's the Lonely Mountain in northern Ravanian, and then there are a number of sites up here that we could find rings at. And meanwhile, I'm going to take Sam and Gandalf first to Edelon, down here to Edelon from Lorien, and then over here to the Puckle Gap, the Stone Circle, and then perhaps up here to Austin Edel or Isengard and find additional rings for those guys. So that's the general idea. That's what I'm thinking. So let's get that in motion. So we're moving to Lonely Mountain. We could draw up to 2, but again, there's that permanent event effect. So let's draw 1. We do have concealment, which Annalena can take advantage of as a scout. Oh, and a magic ring of words. So a magic ring of words is one that gives you either the diplomat ability, or if you are a diplomat like Gloin and Gandalf, then you get +3 direct influence. So that's quite nice. But we only have one gold ring at the moment to capitalize on. So, okay. That's one. Would we want to draw another? I don't think so. I don't want to tempt fate. Let's go over to our opponent and see what they have in store. Okay, so we can draw up to 2. Nothing limiting us. And they are going, their site path for them is Wilderness, Borderlands, Wilderness, and Ruins and Lair. And they're leaving out of a haven, of course. And they, those 2 wildernesses are not adjacent, so they you can't play hazards that are key to double wilderness. That requires that the 2 wilderness be side by side, deep wilderness in effect. But we can definitely play Orc Raiders. Yeah. You know, sometimes it might be even worth it to hand them a marshalling point if you can slow them down a turn from doing what they intend to do, which may involve getting more than 1 marshalling point. It might not always be a bad idea to do that. All of these orcs are playable on this site path. These are fairly playable orcs, but they're not very good unless beefed up by other orcs. So let's see what we can draw. Quick Beam. All right, our first ally. And Marvel's Told. Okay, so that's something we could use to get rid of Ren. We could get rid of The Moon is Dead. It's not a bad idea during our turn, but this is not helping us now in our mission to waylay our elf and dwarf friends over there. So the Orc Lieutenant is 1 strike of 7. And then if they faced an orc, the next one would be 1 strike of 11. But, like, Glorfindel would mop the floor with that. So, yeah. I am really at a loss. I don't think they're going to be going to Angmar or Mordor, so I'm inclined to play the Witch King as a permanent event. I don't have... I could use his ability, but even if they don't go to the Shadow Hold, they may... I could always tap it to bring hazards in from the sideboards. That's 1. You know what? I think I'm going to discard the Men of Unfallen. I mean, obviously we're wrapping up the movement hazard phase here. We don't really have a lot to do. I'm going to discard the Men of Unfallen. It's one that Aragorn could definitely easily get, but maybe it's a little bit out of the way, so let's maybe not do that right now. And Quick Beam is much closer at hand, and Marvel's Told, like I said, could really help us get rid of that card, The Moon is Dead, which is annoying. Okay, which is not an environment card, right? No, it is not. Okay. So there we go. We brought our hand to 8. They've arrived at the Lonely Mountain, and their hand is already at 8. So, all right, on to the next thing. Lorien's over here now. Gandalf and Sam are next. So let's just scooch over to these guys here. We'll handle the site phase for each team later, once everyone's at their destination. But yeah, let's get Sam and Gandalf to Edelond. Alright, so the site path from Lorien to Edelond is a wilderness, borderlands, free domain, borderlands, wilderness. Again, not a double wilderness because they're not together. And we can draw up to 2, but the more, any card we draw above 1, we are putting ourselves in more danger. So let's see what we draw. Hormorath. Oh, did I? Huh. Did I have that in... oh, I guess that was on the other team's side. Yeah, so I have that card in both. He's pretty good. He gives +1 strike to any one attack. That can really come out of nowhere and make something more effective, make an attack more effective. So, okay, great. Doesn't really help us at the moment, but I think that's all we're going to draw. And here we are. We want to draw Anduril, the Flame of the West. So here we go. We've got Reforging, we've got Anduril. All we need to do is find Narsil, and we have the 3-card combo that makes that awesome and just gives Aragorn an amazing weapon that gives him +4. I don't think there's any limit to that. Is there +4 to a maximum of 11? Yeah. Pretty much makes him nigh invincible and gives him even more direct influence and 4 marshalling points. Amazing. But there's a little bit to do to make that happen. Anyway, I feel like I'm always drawing resources when I'm looking for hazards and getting sidetracked thinking about what I'm going to do on my next turn instead of how to kill Gandalf. So let's think about that. Now, I'm just getting tired of doing nothing. I want to do something, so we're going to play Orc Raiders. Orc Raiders has 4 strikes of 6, and I'm going to key it to the borderlands, so Sam does not have the option to use his Elven Cloak to avoid his strike. And I'm going to assign the 2 additional strikes to Sam, bringing his prowess down to 0, -1, and yes. So that's how that's going to shake out. Now, unbeknownst to that side, Sam, we do have another concealment. Let's see. This is tricky. I mean, the other consideration is that I could also use concealment to cancel the automatic attack at the Lonely Mountain, which is prowess 14. And, you know, although I'm pretty sure Glorfindel could handle it, if we can avoid getting injured with this party, then we can continue just traipsing around the northeastern mountains and not have to go back to heal or anything. So, yeah, I am not sure what to do. I mean, Sam has a body of 9, so he's tough. Oh boy. I mean, Gandalf could remain untapped, and then he could tap to support Sam with a +1 to prowess modifier, but that is a +1 prowess modifier, and we don't even know. This is one of 2 cards they could potentially play on us, so I don't know that that's so wise. This is a little bit better than I thought for this card. Alright, to heck with it. I'm going to tap Sam to play Concealment. I feel like the other party has more ways to apply prowess modifiers to help Glorfindel out with that automatic attack, which, I mean, essentially they're the same. You're having to beat a 7 with either character, this one or that one, but yeah, there they could maybe help him out a little bit better. So we're going to tap Sam to play Concealment, and that cancels the Orc Raiders attack. Now they're still considered to have faced it, so that if we played the Orc Lieutenant now, he would still have the 11, but we know they're heading into a haven, so it's very likely that Gandalf would tap to face that strike, and he would probably beat it. He's got 8 prowess now, thanks to that Dwarven ring. Yeah, so we're not going to do that. We forced Sam to tap. We forced them to get rid of that concealment card, which they've been making good use of, so we're going to call that a win, though we didn't give them a point, so we're going to call that a win. And yeah, so everyone, they've arrived safely at Edelond, beautiful Edelond by the sea, and Everyone bring their hand back up to 8. Alright, so here we go. Hand of 8. Hand of 8. Okay. Alright, so now let's enter into the sight phase. Alright, so let's deal with the exciting stuff first. So we're at the Lonely Mountain, and we have the option to enter, but we have to face this one strike powers 14 automatic attack. And so I would like Balin to be the one to get the ring. So I'm going to tap Glorfindel to face the strike, and then we're going to tap Annalena and Gloin to provide 2. Let's pull Balin out from there. Yeah. To provide +2 prowess modifier to this attack. So Glorfindel's rolling a 10 to beat a 14. I think that's good odds. Yes, and we did. Okay, fantastic. So we successfully faced the automatic attack, and now we tap the Lonely Mountain and play a beautiful gold ring. And now, moving over here to Edelond, we've got Gandalf untapped. And I've been talking about tapping the wizard to bring 5 cards in from your 5 character or resource cards in from your sideboard into your discard, but I went and glanced at the rules and actually you can do one of 2 things. You can bring 5 into your discard or 1 into your hand, provided that you have more than 5 cards left in your your play deck. Provided that you have more than 5 cards in your left in your play deck. We definitely do. And we have this card over here called Ring Lore, which, if I can find it, there we go. Ring Lore, which allows sages to test cards, and you can even skip the roll altogether and just play the card that you want, but you have to go to a site that provides information. There's plenty of those out here in the East, and so since our parties are very geographically split right now, we may want to test rings before we meet back up with Gandalf, and so I'm thinking I'm going to tap Gandalf to bring Ring Lore from the sideboard right into the play deck. So I'll shuffle that into the play deck. I'll do that in just a second. But yeah, that's what we're going to do with Gandalf's turn, tapping Gandalf to bring this card into my play deck. We'll shuffle that in. Okay, and then let me do that. Now we're at the end of turn phase, and we can discard a card and bring in another card. You know, we don't have a ring to go get at the moment, and although we're heading into my opponent's turn, we also don't have a ton of ways to waylay him as well. I just think this Magic Ring of Words is probably the least impressive. I mean, it's barely better than it gives 3 marshalling points, which is great, but it's barely better than a lesser ring in effect. So the Ring of Nature is, I think, much better. So I'm going to discard that one and bring my hand back up to, hello, Lure of Nature. Okay, this is a good one, considering the sites they're traveling through. So there we go. That's the end of my turn on this side. Let's do the same over here. Discard something if we want to. I really don't want to, though. I think I'm kind of inclined to discard the Orc Lieutenant just because it's two is not. But we're heading into our turn. Yeah, maybe I do. All right. 2 Orc Lieutenants is one too many, perhaps. Oh, and another Marvel's Told. Alright, well, we have something for our sages to do. And we could get rid of Ren and Moon is Dead. Okay, but anyway, that's the end of Gandalf's turn. So now, moving on to Saruman's team's turn. And Théoden does not have to do a corruption check for the Lure of Senses because we're not in a haven, we're at Isengard. So we untap Théoden. We untap Aragorn, and Saruman is revealed at Isengard. And now is the time to think about who is going to do what. We're going to stay here in Isengard and get this Palantir, play this Palantir. And Aragorn is, it would be great to go recruit Quickbeam, but I'm realizing that we have a bit of a sage deficit. Reforging requires a sage, and a site where information can be played. Andruil requires a sage and a site where information can be played. Our only sage at the moment is Saruman, so Marvel's Told also requires a sage. Yeah, the Palantir is going to be... Saruman's the only one. We really got a lot of things for Saruman to do. The only thing that Aragorn could do is pick up Quickbeam. That's going to use up 3 more of his direct influence, which is going to hamper his ability to go around recruiting factions. And once Quickbeam's under Aragorn, I don't think he can change hands. I don't know that he can move around. For example, to be placed under Saruman's direct influence once they reconvene. That's something to look up. You know what? That's not something that's easy to find. That's not information that's easy to find. But yeah, given that like 5 of the 6 things we want to do all involve Saruman, I think we're just going to have Aragorn go recruit Quickbeam at the end and leave it at that, and figure out how we're going to deal with that later. I mean, Saruman has 10 direct influence. He can be a great faction recruiter as well. We could always give him that Horn of Anor. Once we all meet up again. If we all meet up again. So, yeah, I think we've got to do what we can with Aragorn. So let's plan to do that. So for this turn, Saruman and Théoden are going to stay in Isengard, and Aragorn and the Dúnedain are going to recruit this Ent Quickbeam at Wellinghall. So let's set that up. And okay, here we go. Let's deal with the movement hazard phase for Saruman and friends first. Let's see. So Saruman, Théoden, and Haima are staying put in Isengard, which is a ruin and lair. There's no cards will be drawn, but they do still have that hazard limit of 3. And actually, hold up. You know what? Before we start on that, we're still in our organization phase. I am going to tap Théoden to attempt to remove the Lure of the Senses. So he needs to roll greater than a 6 to get this card off. He did it. Nice job. Okay, so that is no longer an issue, which is good. So Théoden is tapped. So as we head into the movement hazard phase. Now we're in the movement hazard phase for this team. And they are going to be staying put here in Isengard. But the other team still has hazard limit of 3 they can play. And ruins and layers sometimes have things that can be played on them. So let's see. So we don't really have anything that could actually be played on them. We could play Lure of Nature, but that's the best. That's even easier to remove than the Lure of the Senses. It only requires greater than a 4, so that's basically removed to the next turn. And it's best placed on someone going through lots of wildernesses. Every wilderness you go through while you have this card on you forces a corruption check. So that's great to do en route, not great to do at this moment. And we can't draw, so we could put Horemouth out there. And that's pretty much the only thing we could do. Ithilien. So I guess if they made the mistake of traveling to Hineth Anor, if they went through Ithilien, Hormurath could come down and attack them as a creature, but that seems unlikely. I don't want to bank on that, so we're going to play Hormurath as a permanent event, and then I might actually tap him immediately and bring this Muster Disperses. As with the wizard, you can tap to bring 5 cards from your sideboard into your discard, or 1 into your playdeck, provided you have up to more than 5 in your playdeck. So I might actually tap Hormurath immediately, so that would be 2 against the hazard limit of 3, once to play him and once to tap him, to bring that Muster Disperses in immediately. That would give us 2 opportunities to try and disperse one of those factions that's under the Sentinels of Numenor, and once that's been dispersed, the Sentinels also goes away along with its effects. Oh, you know what? I forgot to add the modifier. I forgot to add the modifier, the Sentinels of Numenor modifier to the Woses when I was recruiting them. I think I recruited them pretty handily. I think Aragorn beat even with the -2 modifier, but I forgot to take that into consideration. A lot to remember, folks, sorry. But I believe Aragorn beat it anyway. I can go back and check the footage. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he got it anyway. But yes, Muster Disperses. I'm going to do that. Hormurath is going to be played. It's going to be tapped immediately. And Muster Disperses will be brought into our playdeck to be shuffled in. And yeah, okay, that's the end of their movement hazard phase. That's the end of ours. We bring our hand. Well, I need to shuffle this in first. Bring the hand back up to 8. Ring of Stealth. Traitor. Okay. So here we go. We've got lots of magic rings. Lots of magic ring options, but I don't like having that as the only option. Traitor. I'm going to have to remind myself what that... Oh, when they fail a corruption check, then they attack the other people in the party. That's interesting. We got to make someone fail a corruption check first, though. Okay, but yes, we brought our cards back to up to 8, and then the other Saruman's needs to do the same. They're at 7 because I had played Saruman. There's the other Saruman. All right. So yeah, that's something we can discard at the end of this turn. Ce n'est pas nécessaire. So that's it for that movement hazard phase. Now let's have Aragorn move from the Drúadan forest to Welling Hall. That is from Anorian through Rohan to Fangorn. And so it's freelands, borderlands, wilderness, and we're arriving at a freehold, Welling Hall. So that's and then we can draw a 1. Erkenbrand, awesome. All right, another person with Edoras home site that red arrow can take advantage of. He's a great person to give the red arrow to as well. He has a great mind to direct influence ratio. So you give him that red arrow and he has a direct influence of 7 on a character with a mind of 4. Pretty awesome. But yeah, okay, that's 1. Doesn't help us attack Aragorn at the moment. What am I saying? Not attack Aragorn. Doesn't help us protect Aragorn in his moving at the moment. Now we can also draw 1 and another Lure of Nature. All right. So they're traveling through one wilderness. If we put this lure of nature on Aragorn, we could possibly cause him to be discarded. It's rather unlikely, but we could cause that to be the case. Also, he would need to tap next turn to attempt to remove it, so that might slow him down a bit too. So I think that there's something to be said for that. Actually, there's nothing here that says that you can't do 2 on 1. So, I mean, in essence, we could put both Lure of Natures on him at the same time. Yeah, they have a hazard limit of 3. And then, when the next character fails a corruption check, he becomes a traitor. This card is discarded. The attack is made against a character in the traitor's company. That would be funny if Aragorn killed Baragond. Oh, wouldn't that be sad? You know what? It's unlikely, but the shock value is worth it. Worth taking the risk. So let's do that. We've got 3 hazard limit. I want to get these cards churning. Let's get through this deck. So we're going to A, play Traitor as a permanent event. And B and C, play 2 Lure of Natures on Aragorn. Now, it says, yeah. The target character makes 1 corruption check at the end of each movement hazard phase for each wilderness in the sight path. Alright, so that is one corruption check. And he currently has 5 corruption points. So yeah, that could be pretty devastating. And that's as much as we can do. So he's at the end of that movement hazard phase, so let's make that roll. This could be a real bummer. Alright. 5. 7. Oh, okay. So Aragorn does not activate the traitor card. He does not decide to. He's had enough of Baragond and take him out. But yeah, that was not the safest roll. Okay, and so they've arrived safely. Well, they've arrived at Wellinghall, and so here we are. Now everyone needs to bring their hands back up to 8 again. I don't think Marvel's Told is great, but with as much as we've got on Saruman's plate, I don't think that 2 Marvel's Told is worth having in our hand. And although, I mean, hold up. Well, wait. This is not the point where we discard. All right, I'm doing too much. Okay. Oh wait, no. This is the point where we discard because we got 9 cards in our hand. Okay. Sorry, I'm getting myself confused. Yes, as much as we don't need Marvel's Told, we need another Saruman even less. So let's do that instead. Okay. So we're gonna keep that. That's our 8. Let's go over there. They bring their hand back up to 8. Ooh, Ensa Fangorn. And Muster Dispersed. There we go. There's the card we were looking for. The one that our lovely Ringwraith, Hormurath brought in for us. So, awesome. Alright, so we brought our hand back up to 8. And let's see what our friends on the other side are going to do now that they've arrived at their destination. Alright, so Saruman's going to tap Isengard to play the Palantir of Orthanc. And Aragorn is going to tap Wellinghall and bring in Quickbeam. Now, there's no influence check required when bringing in an ally. You just have to have the necessary direct influence. They can't be controlled by the general influence. So, yes, Aragorn is controlling his 3 available direct influence. The horn is the direct influence provided by the Horn of Anors is only applicable to recruiting factions. So I'm just gonna. Aragorn has got a lot going on right now. There we go. All right. So it makes sense for Prytvian to be under here with all these lure of natures. He's a natural guy. But he's a great ally. I mean, he's probably one of the strongest allies that is not limited by movement restrictions. And really unusual for an Ent ally to be unlimited by movement restrictions. The other 2, Treebeard and the other guy are, I think there's another one, are both sort of confined to Fangorn and the surrounding area. So once you move out of there, they are discarded. So that's a bummer. You kind of have to stay there. But Quickbeam does not have that limitation. He can go to Mordor if he so chooses. Kind of funny to imagine. And there we are. So we're done with our turn. Poor Hama's still wounded. Hama's wounded. But we're doing okay. And now we can discard 1 card. Now's the time when we could discard Marvel's Told. And we really just need to... and we have a lot to do, in a sense, but we really need to hamper our opponent. And we also need more for Aragorn to do. Or maybe we all reconvene at Lorien and just figure out a better party configuration. Okay. Houses of Healing. All right. Men of Lebanon. And a chance meeting. Okay. There we go. So we could actually bring Erkenbrand, with a chance meeting, we could actually bring Erkenbrand in at Isengard. That's kind of a good combination. And we might do that. Okay, but that's it for this side's turn. The other side may also discard 1 and bring in 1. I need... Aragorn has that... He's traveling in a wilderness. I need someone... If I can get Icy Touch... The prowess of the next character wounded. Yeah, it's hard to wound Aragorn. He's got good prowess. If only there was a way to wound him. In the meantime, Muster Disperses is a must-keep. Yes. The Ring of Stealth acts pretty much like the cloak, the elven cloak, only it doesn't have that wilderness restriction. So that's pretty good too. Actually, getting rid of strikes sometimes is as good as getting rid of an attack. Because often only one character is really the squish. Yeah. And now we've just gone away from Welling Hall, from the Welling Hall area. Difficult to know what to do. We've sort of walked away from that area, but we could make our way back there. They are really just not going anywhere scary, so I think Ghosts is not really doing us much good at the moment, so let's discard that. And hey, Lure of Expedience. Okay, now we're talking. Yes. I mean, Aragorn could only tap to get rid of one of those Lure of Natures over there, so he's gonna have to have one going forward. So if we can put that on him and continue attempting to corrupt the great Aragorn, that's probably the best thing to do. That's our only inroad at the moment, because they keep hanging around pretty safe areas. Alrighty, but that's the end of that round, and we're going to take a little break.